Okay, so uh, in our chapter of random people from Reddit, we have Liam today. Hello, Liam.
Hi, hello there.
How are you doing?
I'm doing all right. It's a holiday where I am now, so I've had a pretty chill day with the in-laws. So yeah, it's all good.
A holiday. So if it's not a secret, where are you from?
I currently live in Austria. I'm not Austrian, but that's where I live. So
Oh, I see. Because from your accent, I would judge you're rather British or.
Yeah, British.
that would be a correct assessment. Yes, I am British.
Okay, cool. So I still understand the accents. Cool. So I'm actually I live in New Jersey, although I'm Armenian.
Yeah, I'm in Yerevan now.
So Armen is in Armenia. Yeah.
Very nice, very nice.
So how has this whole situation with the pandemic affected you? Has it at all?
So to give a quick summary of what happened in Austria, obviously Austria borders Italy, and the part of Italy
Right.
that was really badly hit, Lombardy, is
Right.
the part that's the closest to Austria you can get. So the regions next to Italy started getting cases not long after Italy did. And that part of Austria, Tyrol, is also where all the cases that spread to the Nordic countries started, because there's lots of ski slopes and stuff in that region.
Mm-hmm.
It's the Austrian Alps. So we had like a Tyrolean outbreak that kind of was bubbling away, and then it started to spread a few other places. So our government very rapidly started locking down pretty much everything. And then a few days later, we had to like wear masks to go to supermarkets. And like just everything was closed basically, which meant that Austria is now almost effectively open. Like there's very little that's not open, and like people are still wearing masks on public transport and supermarkets.
Right.
But in terms of life back to normal, like it's pretty much is. Like if you look at the numbers in Austria, it's like trying to like every few days we have a few more cases and then a few more disappear because people got better. So Austria has been a pretty good place to be during everything. But personally, for me, I work as a data scientist, so I work at home already. So when everything happened,
Right. Yeah.
I was already working at home. So very little like personally changed in my day-to-day work. Like our company that I work for is in the automotive industry and went on a pretty heavy like we are not spending any cash we don't have to spend, which still meant we got paid our salaries and stuff like that. But I worked the entire time. I didn't really have any difference to my like day-to-day life. Like shopping was a bit of an issue because obviously supermarkets are now like the hot place not to be. So like it was a bit more painful. But my girlfriend who I live with is a student, and schools and universities and stuff just stopped.
Right.
So
Yeah.
and she had exams that she's currently still doing at the moment. So spent like
Remotely?
no, they have to attend. They have to actually
Oh,
attend
I
an
see.
exam and socially distance in the exam.
I see.
So she spent like 2 or 3 weeks basically not knowing whether anything was happening, whether she was going to have exams to sit, whether they were just going to give them grades, and how would that affect sorting out their university for next year. So she had a bit of a much rougher time than I did. But me, I just worked, and it was very weird seeing all my friends talking about all the games they're playing and TV they're catching up with, because a lot of my mates are British, so they were furloughed. And I just worked, like nothing really changed. It was very odd to see like one of the biggest like moments in global history, and my life was very similar as it was beforehand.
Yeah, I think it's almost the same applies to me, although I mean, you might have heard that New Jersey was and New York State, they were hit pretty drastically. But I mean, I also worked remotely before that, so I do astrophysics. So I
Very
mean,
cool.
you just spend time at home doing stuff, and nothing else changed. Really. Yeah.
What in astrophysics do you study?
I do high energy. So this is basically, yeah, go ahead.
Because I have a doctorate in physics, so I'm just curious.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So I do plasma simulations.
Very nice.
So it's plasma astrophysics simulations applied to,
Neutral
high
or
energy stuff.
non-neutral?
What? Neutral?
Neutral or non-neutral plasmas?
Oh, fully ionized.
Okay, cool.
In high energy astrophysics, it's usually fully ionized.
Okay. Yeah.
And in a lot of occasions, it's even pair plasma, not even electron ion plasma.
Yeah. Well, I worked where I worked initially. My doctorate, there was a lot of guys doing astrophysics, but they were mostly working in interstellar dust and stuff like that. So I'd pop in on their like presentations and talk. They were talking about plasma physics, but it was not what my field was in. So I kind of only half paid attention to what they were talking about.
I see. So it looks like you left the field.
Yeah, I
physics.
Yeah, I finished I did my Viva and my defense in May of last year. So yeah, in 2019 I graduated my program, and then my field is very, very, very small, and I wanted to move to live with my girlfriend. So I chose that I'd probably much enjoy going more into industry than trying to stick in academia in a very, very, very small field. So yeah.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, I'm still doing my PhD, so I haven't gotten it. So I don't know what will happen once I get it. So maybe it's the path I would also follow. We'll see.
Of the guys,
I was gonna ask about the pandemic thing. So we usually ask our guests, like, is there a specific skill, habit, or just a life hack you learned during the pandemic that during this whole lockdown and supply laxing? Is there anything you developed, like a skill that you can share with others?
For me, one of the kind of things that was very useful to develop pretty quickly into it was a kind of pretty strict like sleep regiment. Like when I was a student and a PhD, like my sleep cycle was horrific. Like, I was going to bed like way early into the morning, and because I didn't have to be in work at any time, I would come in at like 10, 11 in the morning, because I'd just been up all night doing whatever I was doing. But since
I can relate.
Yeah, you understand, like paper deadlines when you're up till 4 in the morning. But since this started, like my girlfriend and I aim to be in bed. We start going to bed like 10 p.m. So like obviously it takes like 30 or 40 minutes to actually get to bed. And then like I get up pretty consistently because I have 2 cats that wake me up for breakfast at like 7:30. So like as much as that, like I am knackered in the morning, I'm so tired in the morning. And I'm usually pretty sleepy by the time I get to like 10:30 in the night because I've been up for so long. It's been pretty useful at keeping like a very high sense of normality when like I have no idea what day of the week it is most of the time, because obviously my girlfriend used to leave to go do things on different days of the week, and I would leave to go do things different days of the week. But when that doesn't happen anymore, like very quickly days can fall apart. But having like a pretty strict continuous routine of how a day looks was just like very useful at kind of keeping everything grounded and like just kind of keeping everything ticking along, considering that like all we had to do was stay home, but you can still lose your mind just sitting at home not doing anything. So I think that was pretty effective for us at keeping us like rocking on. So
I can relate to this, I think.
So due to pandemic, your like sleep habits are improved, right?
Yeah, which is mad. Because it should have been like ruined by stress and ruined by worry and ruined by like checking Twitter like when you're lying in bed trying to work what the hell's going on. But we just got much better. I think it was also like the first few days you do it, like I was so tired that I was actually going to sleep at 10:30 p.m. So like that was like a huge shift for me, like because I was just knackered all the time. So yeah, unlike everyone else, I apparently like got my shit together during the pandemic and like learn how to sleep properly. So
It's interesting.
Arm, I don't remember if I asked you. What about you? How does your
Actually, I'm among the majority, so my sleep habits just ruined away, rushed away, and I have kind of insomnia, like the
Oh, okay.
majority has.
So I had that earlier.
That's
I
why
had
I'm
that.
shocked. Yeah, go
I
ahead,
had
please.
that earlier in March when this whole thing started, and that when they told us don't go to your offices in the university. I had that same thing, so I would go to bed at the time my wife wakes up, and that really sucked. So we were like phase shifted for quite a while, but then I forced myself just that's not going to work for too long. And I think now it's more or less, consistent, waking up pretty early and going to bed around 1 a.m.
Yeah, on the other hand, last days I have spent with my grandmother, who is 81 years old. So I'm taking care of her. And she goes to sleep at 8 p.m. And and wakes up at 5 a.m. So we are only two.
That's what most Americans do.
Yeah, so we are only two in this house, and somehow I'm affected by her, and now I go to sleep like around 12 p.m. as well, just because there is no any noise or anything, so it's a very calm house. So yeah, on the other hand, there is such situation.
It reminds me of when I finished my PhD. I had to finish up my thesis. I went back to my parents' house to like work there, and like I was just I'd work until I got tired and went to bed. So like that was what anywhere between like two in the morning and like 9 in the morning, and like every morning when at breakfast is my mother's judgment. And like, why are you still awake? I was like, I was working. Leave me alone. Like, I've got stuff to do.
So
yeah, I can imagine that.
What about music? What is the last song you have listened to?
The last song I deliberately listened to was Arctic Monkeys' "Are You Mine?"
Oh, great!
I'm a big fan. Exactly.
Oh, you guys can talk about this for ages. Arman is also a fan of them, I think, right?
No, I'm not a fan, but like sometimes I listen to them. Yeah.
Yeah, I was actually on Tuesday. We went to two of our friends invited us to a karaoke like night at a bar. I don't sing, so like I wasn't going to sing. I was just kind of going to have a drink with them. And there was a lot of very weird German and Austrian songs that I didn't know at all. People were singing along to, like, and like the whole bar singing along. And you're like, I definitely do not understand the culture that I'm surrounded by at this very moment in time. So,
do you speak German, by the way?
No,
no. Okay.
I tried learning by myself, and it just was pointless. So I was like, I enrolled in a course to like actually go and like sit down and learn German like 4 or 5 hours a day for like 2-3 weeks. And then the pandemic hit, so they cancelled my course. So like that was my like, last ditch effort to learn German, because I'm moving to the Netherlands in like 2 months. So yeah, so German will come at some point when like my girlfriend forces me to speak German. So
yeah. I can understand that. Yeah, my wife is Russian, so Armenians usually speak Russian from their childhood, just because a lot of people in Armenia speak Russian.
Yeah.
But she doesn't speak Armenian, which is all right. I mean,
how
learn at some point.
How close are the? Like, I don't know much about the Armenian linguistics. Like, are they linked, or are they just by overlap that Russia's spoken a lot in Armenia?
No, not even close.
Okay.
Not even
No,
close.
yeah.
I mean, those things are.
Russian is a
Slavic
language, and Armenian is like
Indo-European, I think.
Yeah, the Slavic is also Indo-European, but they are definitely different paths.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
Yeah, I compare it like Arabic versus, I don't know, German.
Yeah.
They're pretty, yeah. Harm, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to ask about hobbies, as I got that job isn't affected because of pandemic, but what about hobbies?
Well, one of the things that I like doing, and my girlfriend does as well, was we used to try and travel quite a bit. And like, there was a year where I didn't have a job, so I was like living on pennies. So I finally had a job and thought, okay, well, in the summer we'll go somewhere nice. Like, we'll just do something nice. So that fell apart pretty quickly, obviously, when travel was stopped. But the other like major hobby I do is this. It's very weird and it will take a bit of time to explain, but it's called Toastmasters, and it's basically like a public speaking like
Mm-hmm.
event where people like attend and you give talks. People like judge your talks, and like you have like these things called development goals where like you practice different types of talking. And I used to go do that every fortnight. And like when the pandemic hit, initially we stopped because everyone was kind of working what the hell to do. And when it realized that we were going to be closed for like months and like we still haven't got seen each other in person, they started doing it by Zoom, which is like fine, like because obviously it's a public speaking thing, you can still do it by Zoom. It's not quite the same, like it loses some of the like some of the like I don't know magic of public talking when you just sat in front of your laptop. But that's kind of continued going on.
Yeah.
Have you given a talk? I mean, a Zoom talk?
I've given Zoom talks for work, well Teams, but I've given talks for work. But I've also given talks for this Toastmasters thing. I've given like 3 or 4 at this point. So yeah, it's very different, and like because you have no like you can't look at the audience very well because like once you start looking at your screen, all they see in your eyes is like you not looking at them. So like you can't really, you have to kind of stare directly into the camera while also trying to pay attention in the periphery to like what their faces are doing. And obviously because people are at home as well, in case people like just look off screen because like I don't know, like maybe their partner came in or like a child is around.
Lam, have you tried to use like VR headsets and VR environment for your?
I have.
Yeah, that's where the topic change.
I haven't. I really want to because I'm like mostly blind in one eye, so I'm really curious whether VR would work. Because I don't have great depth perception in like real life. I just because my one eye doesn't work properly. So I'm really curious to see whether VR like is effective. Like you know those like 3D movies with the polarized lenses, like they just don't work very well for me. Like I can't really see the 3D effect. So I'm just curious to see how it would work. But no, I haven't had the chance to test one yet.
Got it.
Right. Yeah, about getting back to actually Zoom talk, the reason I asked you is I actually gave a couple of Zoom talks in April earlier. So it's just, it's a bit weird when you make a joke and like a joke which is a part of your talk, you know, related to the topic of your talk. And then, you know, you're the only one laughing because everyone is silent, everyone is muted, and it's like it's so cringy. It just doesn't work.
Yeah. Like fortunately like the number of people at my like thing, like you can still see all their faces. You can kind of occasionally see like a little head nod or like a smile, but like I'm trying to imagine like if I gave like a conference presentation where like there's like 100 people in attendance where you can't see any faces.
Oh yeah.
And like whenever I did presentations for anything, like I kind of filled it with like jokes and here and there because I realized how dry like some topics can be. Like people are interested in what I'm doing, but it's also like super just detailed nonsense. So I'd always like throw like a joke here and there. And if no one laughed, I think I'd die. Like I think I'd just give up and die.
Yeah, it's like you joke and it's silent. It's completely silent. Like, okay, I guess I'll carry on.
and you see,
it's like a bad stand-up.
Yeah, and like you kind of end up acknowledging it. Like you make a joke and no one laughs. You go, so okay, and like that is even worse because then everyone knows that like you've just like fallen flat on your joke.
Yeah, I can understand that. What
That's
about
why
movies? Do you watch a lot? Yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
that's why I keep under the hand crowd laughing. So when I make a joke, I just played it.
Oh, you really should do that. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a
it's
good
a life
idea.
hack. Yes.
Even
Applause.
after Zoom, you just carry around like a little button you can press that like can laugh to your jokes.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, great
So I
idea.
was gonna ask, what about movies? Do you watch at all? Like,
I used to watch a lot more than I do at the moment because like I'm mostly watching like TV series, but I listen to a lot of film like podcasts to kind of keep track of what's going on, and I add them to this big list I have of films that I will eventually one day watch. Um, and like that list is like 400 films long at this point. And like I kind of work my way through like a
wow.
movie here and there. But because I'm traveling on Saturday for the next week, I'm traveling to the Netherlands. I will be watching a lot of
Mhm.
films because I'll be by myself in like an Airbnb. So I'll be watching a lot of films then. So I've got like a huge
Mhm.
list of stuff I'm going to go through. And I'm looking forward to catching up on some films. So yeah.
I see. What film or actually even a TV show would you recommend?
My go-to film to recommend is always Zodiac, the David Fincher film about
Oh, the
yeah
classics.
about the
Hmm.
Zodiac killer. Like it's like I'm a bit of a true crime fan, which is like I know weird being a fan of true crime, but like, I like true crime stories and
Dear
storytelling.
editor, this is the
And I
murderer
think
of
Zodiac's
two
just like
teenagers
such a
last Christmas
beautifully
who left
shot
her and another
film
girl
and
on
so
the 4th of
well
July.
paced
I want you
for
to
like
put
how
this
it tells
cipher
its
on the front
story
page of your paper.
and how like
Morse's code
it
in the
kind of
engineering
shows how
Mhm.
desperate and the chase was at the time. TV show. I just watched The Last Kingdom, which I didn't think I'd like as much as I did. It's a Netflix BBC show about
What is it? Ships.
pre-Norman
What ships?
Britain, time of Alfred the Great, and like it's kind of like
Yeah, I tried starting to watch it. It was a bit boring at first for the first two episodes. But then
like I have the advantage obviously of being British. I grew up like learning these histories like in the background.
yeah,
And like it takes a bit to get going, but like once it gets going, like it's like I call it like it sidesteps history. Like most of the major characters are like real historical people, and like all the major battles are real historical battles. But like how they happen is kind of
Mhm.
twisted, so like it fits the narrative they're trying to tell. Like they can have like an underdog story or like a dominant story in the battle depending on like what they want to tell, even though the real battle was like completely different to how it turned out in the show. But it was good. Like it's
Mhm.
not highbrow entertainment, but it was like just fun to watch and fun to get involved in the kind of weird story of Uhtred of Babenberg. So yeah.
Right. I see. Arm, did you?
Yeah, I don't know why this question popped up in my mind, but I want to ask: is there any celebrity from Britain you are familiar? You know, like personally?
Oh God. Yeah. Okay. Cool. This is a weird story. So it's gonna take a second to get there.
We're here for weird stories.
So I'm assuming you're familiar with Harry Potter.
Yeah,
Okay.
of course.
Well,
Okay.
yeah.
So the actor that plays Ron Weasley, Rupert Grint, his girlfriend slash
Yeah.
wife slash
Yeah.
mother of his child. I don't know exactly how they're together. She went to my school with me, so she was in class with me. I was in class with her for a few times. So like, yeah, the wife of Rupert Grint was a classmate of mine. So I guess that counts as a celebrity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, my impression about, I mean, while I watch like British TV shows, movies, it's like all the same
Yeah.
actors popping out here and there. Like it seems like there's only so many actors in Britain. Like you usually see, I don't know, David
Yeah.
Tennant playing different roles. Plays a doctor, then he plays in Broadchurch, then he plays in Harry Potter. A lot of,
Because it's always
Yeah, it seems like it's pretty
It-
small.
it's like I don't know exactly why. Like, I don't work in the TV business or film business, but like I think it is kind of small to an extent, and like there's not that many production like channels that produce things. So I guess there's a kind of overlapping of
Mhm.
things. But like it's always very funny when like some actor like Olivia Colman, who won an Oscar for The Favourite, has been like on British TV for like
Mhm,
20,
mhm.
20 years or so, like constantly knocking it out of the park.
Yeah, she was also
Yeah,
in
like
Broadchurch.
everything she's in, she's excellent. And then she comes to like she's in The Favourite, and everyone's like,
Yeah.
"Oh, it's a breakout star." I'm like, "She's not a breakout star. She's been doing this for decades, and she's been very good at it for decades. You just haven't paid attention until like this minute now." So yeah,
Yeah, I guess it's the same story for the
yeah,
Cumberbatch in some way because he's been a theater actor for
yeah.
quite a while, and also maybe about David Tennant, who's been also a theater actor for quite a while. Then he became a doctor, and that sort of boosted him up.
I think he played Casanova on a British production of Casanova, and that was like when he blew up on TV in the UK. And then obviously he got the doc. David Tennant, yeah, he played Casanova.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I haven't
yeah,
watched
I
that
think
one.
also like I think actors in the UK are slightly different to the Hollywood scene, where like most a lot of really good actors like suddenly explode onto TV at like in their late 20s, early 30s, because they've been doing theatre since they were like 17, and like have finally done enough theatre like someone
Mhm.
picks them up for a TV show. Well, it seems like a lot of Americans start acting like between like I don't know 21, 25 when they start appearing in like films and stuff. So it's just a very different like circle of I don't know influence or success. So
Yeah, we usually ask this again to our guests. Is there a news headline which you read? Maybe not the most obvious things, but like something that caught your attention.
there was I can't remember the paper. There was a paper that came out from Alpha at CERN about antimatter helium or the goals towards it, which as like a physics nerd and someone who
Mhm.
worked with the guys that work at Alpha was like something that was very cool to see. Um, and then obviously like there's a lot of headline like then the world is kind of manic at the moment. Um, so like
Well,
it's where to pick something, but like there was one today I just saw that one of the police officers that kneeled during the George Floyd protests has been suspended for like misconduct, which is kind of endemic of targeting any police officer that doesn't follow the blue line. So yeah, okay, there's two things that stood out to me
yeah.
recently.
In the context of this protest here, there were also protests in Britain. And I saw a few occasions, especially in Bristol, where they kind of destroyed the statue of I forgot the guy's name, but he was some politician in the 17th century who did something in colonies in Africa.
It was Colston.
No, not Churchill.
Yeah,
Yes,
Churchill
yes,
needs to come
exactly.
down
Sorry.
as well, but yeah.
I forgot about it. What do you think about that? Like in general?
In general, like I take a pretty hardline view of like screw any statue that venerates like a slave or a war criminal or an oppressor. Like they should all come down. Like if I had my way in the UK, I'd tear down like every slaver statue, a lot of the royal statues, and the statues to like Winston Churchill and Margaret Thatcher. Like they'd all come down if I had my way. But like in terms of like
Even Margaret
I
Thatcher.
hate her so much.
A lot. I think a lot of British people hate her, but also a lot of them like it's like Reagan.
It is explicitly like Reagan. Yeah, if they're the same age, same period. Like if you like Maggie Thatcher's politics, you like it. If you don't like it, like it's not like for an example. It's not like a politician where like you disagree with them, but you still like respect them. Like she's just like everything she did, apart from like climate change, was like actively to destroy like class solidarity and to like punish the poor and to like extract wealth for like the burgeoning middle class and the rich. So like I don't have much sympathy for her. I know what she did to my friends' families. So like Yeah, I don't have much sympathy.
But is there a statue of her?
Yeah, there's a
Actually,
I think it might be near Parliament Square, but I don't know. I don't know exactly.
Oh, okay.
I've never seen it in person. I'm never going to look for it. So
Okay. Yeah, because I mean, I doubt there is Reagan statue here anyway. Maybe like only a hat
I don't know.
statue.
Like they named basically everything after him in Washington. So like,
Oh, right. Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah.
They have that.
There is a Reagan statue actually, but in
for God's
Budapest,
sake.
Hungary.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, I guess we have more fans there.
Go Hungary, I guess.
Also, I don't know why this question popped up in my mind, but are you familiar with Old J? Because as you are from Britain, I'm not going to lose this chance, and I'm looking for someone among our guests who is familiar with Old J. So, are you familiar with
I
Old J?
know them. I couldn't tell you any of their songs. Like I think I've heard their stuff, and like I like it because it's like that. Like hipster rock bullshit that I kind of like. So like I enjoy their stuff, but like, I don't actively seek it out. But yeah, I think they're good. I just don't know anything about them really.
I didn't know they're British actually.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're from
Yeah.
Leeds, which is pretty good.
Yeah,
Good for music. Like there's a few cities in the UK that are pretty well known for making a lot of good musicians, and like Leeds is one of them. So.
90% of the music bands or musicians listening now, I like to listen now, are from Britain and particularly from England. Yeah, I don't know why it's like that, but anyway.
Yeah, I don't know why either. Like I've always found it like quite interesting that there's like a lot of like British presence in like big musicians and big music and stuff. I don't know why. Like I'm not sure. From like I can't compare how the music scene is in any other country to where I grew up because I just know how it is in the UK. Like there's loads of bands playing like all the time, so you can always find a band to go watch, and therefore these bands play a lot in public. But I don't know how it is in America or like how it is in Armenia. So like I can't really compare like why Britain is relatively successful.
Well, I mean, it's just a lot of, especially in '80s, a lot of genre originated in '70s, '80s. A lot of genre originated in Britain, like indie, punk,
Britpop, yeah.
So I guess that's probably.
I think we also created dubstep,
Yeah.
so we should apologize for that one. But
yeah, certainly.
Yeah, well, let's not let's not discuss that. Actually, also Grime.
Grime is great.
Some time ago, I enjoyed Grime for quite a while.
Yeah, no, it's a distinctive sound of Grime. That's like you can't replicate it outside of London, basically at this point. Like so, yeah.
Yeah.
If you want me to ask about mac and cheese as well, I can, but I think
I'm happy to answer questions about mac and cheese.
No, that.
Yeah, because that's
an American vibe. Come on.
No, that's not. I'm a big fan of mac and cheese, and I like
because you lived here.
Yeah, I like mac and cheese from Panera Bread, but then I got familiar that mac and cheese is actually a British dish. So
really,
yeah, really, that's the point. So
wow, I thought that's like the most American thing.
No, that's not. So I'm just curious. Do you make like mac and cheese usually in your daily routine? Like we make, for example, dolma. That's an Armenian dish that we make like once in 2 weeks or once in month. Do you make mac and cheese in that regularity?
Currently, yes, but the weird. Okay, sorry,
Really?
everything I say sounds like a really like loopy round to get to it. I'm vegan. So I make mac and cheese a lot, but obviously it's not mac and cheese. But when I was a kid in the
Mm.
UK, we had mac and cheese like on a regularish basis, maybe once a month, once every 2 weeks. Um, and then
Mm.
I moved to France, where I had mac and cheese all the time because cheese is really good in France. Um, and then I moved
Mm.
to Austria and
Mhm.
became vegan, and have mac and cheese like it's my favorite food because it's fake. We make this fake mac cheese sauce with you blend some cashews with some vegetable stock and some uh, nutritional yeast, which is like fake parmesan, and it makes this kind of like
Mhm.
really cheesy umami kind of sauce, which probably doesn't taste like cheese if you actually eat cheese. But to me, who hasn't eaten cheese in like nearly a year or over a year, it tastes like cheese. So we make like fake mac and cheese all
Mm.
the time, way more than I did when I was in the UK having like actual mac and cheese. So yeah.
Got it.
I,
So
I never
what
actually knew
what?
mac and cheese is not an American
No,
dish.
it's a yeah,
Wow.
no, no. So what kind of cheese do British people use while making mac
Uh,
and cheese? So besides
You're
cheddar, I know
you're really
cheddar.
getting deep into this.
it's
Yeah, that's very
it's
interesting.
mostly a lot of cheddars and different kinds of cheddars depending on what you want. Like
Ah,
you can obviously get like mild, soft, like extra strong kind of cheddars, and you get different colors. So you get your red
mm.
Leicesters, your white cheddars, your orange cheddars. So like people usually go
So,
for like when I grew up, we had like two cheddars. We have a very white cheddar, which is very kind of milky and not very cheesy, and then we'd have a very dark
mhm.
red Leicester, which is like super strong, like a super strong version we get where I grew up. And then like you have the two together, so you're going to get a mixture. But I don't know what other cheese people use. I'm sure people in the south use like mascarpone or some nonsense. So yeah.
I got it. I make
Yeah, the
it a similar
actually
way. I just
speaking of actually substitutions. Oh, okay, go ahead. Sorry, I
No,
thought
I
you.
was just saying that I make it similar way. I just mix different kind of cheddars and white one and with the
Mm.
dark one. So the way the same way I make it. Okay, go ahead, please.
Now, I was gonna say, speaking of substitutions, vegan substitutions, I recently tried ground beef, vegan
Mm-hmm.
ground beef. Well, it's not ground beef. Obviously, it's made from it's like a it's made from
Mm-hmm.
beans and a lot of different you know grass. I'm not sure what the
Mm-hmm.
whole ingredients are, but I kid you not, you could not tell it's not an actual beef. I mean, we made
Mm.
burgers with this, and you just couldn't tell if this is an actual meat or not. I was
Yeah,
amazed.
I've been vegetarian for a decade at this point, and like some
Hmm.
vegetarians, not all of them, but some vegetarians and vegans, after dropping meat, maybe like a year into dropping meat, suddenly some meats will smell bad to them, and then after like a year, that will go away
Hmm.
again. But for me, the smell of slow
Hmm.
roast beef has never stopped smelling bad. Um, but when I went to my first like vegan restaurant with like a full fake vegan bacon double cheeseburger, like I was disturbed by how
Hmm.
close to meat it tasted. Like it was super weird biting
Right.
into it and going, this is not vegan. There's no way this is vegan. This has to be meat. And like
Right.
being
Yeah, this was
yeah,
the same thought.
being
Yeah.
unable to like break my conscious like I don't eat meat from the fact that this tastes like meat was just like I think I didn't like my first vegan burger because my brain just was like no, this is not right. Nowadays I eat them like once every 2 weeks or so. So I've kind of got past that part.
Okay. Yeah,
what
this
made
was, yeah.
what made you to become a vegan? Is there a particular event, or you just decided to go to become a vegan?
I went vegetarian for like environmental reasons. Like that was my major push for vegetarianism. And then
Mm.
when I met my girlfriend, she became vegetarian. And then as we like spent more time like actually talking, because like at that when I was just vegetarian by myself, I was just vegetarian. Like I didn't talk to anyone about it. It was just a thing. But like actually when we started talking more about vegetarianism, like why we do it, like she became more attached to the animal rights side of it. And being more exposed to that kind of made me more agreeable to veganism, like just not wanting to participate in like beef and dairy and like chickens and stuff like that. So like initially it was all environmentally focused, and like now it's environment with like animal welfare on the side. So there wasn't like a specific event. We just kind of like slowly started realizing we should probably be vegan, and then like working out how to make that happen. Because at the time I lived in Switzerland, and there's no way to be vegan in Switzerland unless you've got a lot of money. So yeah, that wasn't happening then.
Well, I mean, there's no way to live in Switzerland unless you just get a lot
Yeah,
of money.
the way you do is you live in France, where it costs slightly less, but you're basically in Switzerland, which is what we did. So,
Yeah. Cool. Is there we asked this to everyone. Is there like a thing you think about that you want to talk about, share, maybe a thought that popped up, maybe something that bothers you? This is not a therapy, although Armen is a certified therapist. But just something that you think you want to tell.
This is the thing I think about a lot, and it helps that my girlfriend's going to study like philosophy behind urban development and city planning and stuff. I think about like how people move for a city a lot, and like especially going from I grew up in the suburbs in England, so like not very interesting, and not really much buses. To living in a small city where you could literally walk everywhere, you didn't need a car at all. To living in Paris where you move by metro and bus everywhere. To now living in Linz, which is a city in Austria, which is not that big. It's like 200,000 people. But we have like 4 tram lines, like 30, 40 bus lines. We have like what's called a mountain tram that goes up a hill. Like there's so much public transportation here, which means you don't need a car to get anywhere. Like we don't use a car. I don't own a car. And I just think about how much better cities can be built to make it easier to travel without needing a car. Especially when I look across, like a lot of our media is American, and you look at American suburbs and they are just the most wasteful use of space.
Oh yeah.
And it is horrific how much, like there are suburbs you see that don't even have pavement to walk on. Like there's just nowhere to walk without a car. Or like if you want to go to like get to the corner shop, you have to drive because there's an interstate in the way. Like
you just literally right now you just literally described my neighbor.
Yeah. No offense to you, like
it's like surrounded with a high speed route in 3 ways, and one way is a lake. So the only way you're getting out of this thing is by car. There is no way you can walk, just physically.
Yeah, it's like I learned about the history of like why America has suburbs the way it does, like the GI Bill and like white flight and all that kind of stuff. But just looking at it, like it's just terrifying how badly laid out some of these places are, in terms of like anything remotely based on like high density living. Like I'm very much a city boy. Like I like the city, and I like the convenience and benefits of a highly dense city. But like the suburbs in the States are something else. Like they're just wild to me. And I've never been to one. I've never been to America.
But even cities, actually, I would tell you, even like the highest density cities like LA, San Francisco, New York, it's impossible to travel. The public transport is very bad, is in a very bad shape there.
Yeah.
Driving is not an option. Well, especially in Manhattan, it's just like it's more headache than anything else. So even high density places are not in good shape. So
yeah, it's just
suburbs, of course.
I think also because like the difference in terms of a city, like so where I live, Linz. Through some level of state-private combination, they own the electrics, the internet. There is private internet, but they have a city internet, which is the fastest internet in the city. They own all the trams, all the buses. They just like own a lot of like basic utilities of the city. And like I live in a building block which has like it has various like block things that are owned by like the people who are in the block. So like everything to me is like owned by the state, and it's super cheap as a result. And there's like high investment. Like everyone here complains about it all the time, but it's way better than anywhere else I ever lived, like outside of Paris. But Paris doesn't count because it's like a city of 12 million people. So like yeah, I just find American cities like wild, and I find them so interesting because they just seem so badly laid out to me.
Yeah, that's part European suburbs and cities, as you said. There are a lot of things owned by officials, governments. So this is the beauty of socialism.
It is.
Yeah.
Because in America, almost nothing of public transport or is owned by the state or by the authorities themselves. So it's usually private.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Again, Liam, thank you so much for finding time and talking to us. This was quite a conversation.
I enjoyed it myself. Thank you
a lot.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Goodbye. So good luck. Good luck with the lockdown and all these things.
Cheers.
And also with your move, as you said.
Thank you. That's the most stressful thing in my life. So yeah.
I can imagine that. Yeah.
Cheers.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.